Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to take your license plate on your 27 or 35 and how to take your license plate and move it over to one of the two sides for better airflow for that intercooler. Alright guys, so the question that you are wondering is why would you want to move your license plate? Now the biggest reason is this is where Ford puts the plate from the factory. There are two columns right here and right here that plate bracket mounts to. Now, unfortunately, because they put it here, it restricts the airflow to the intercooler that is directly behind. So what a lot of people do is they will just remove the plate and screw it onto one of the two side pieces. To me, the driver's side makes more sense because that way it's closer to the side that cops can see. I'm not about trying to hide anything from cops, so there's no reason why I would try to put it over here, angled away. I'm not doing anything that's illegal. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to remove this plate bracket, how to modify the plate bracket, and how to move the plate bracket over to the other side, which I just think would give you more of a OEM style finish. All right guys, so what you're going to do is you're going to come over to your plate, and on the back side, and I'll show you here real quick, on the back side you're going to see essentially what looks like two tabs on this side, and then there's one tab, which I'm not going to be able to show you until after, on the other side. So basically what you're going to look at doing is, if you look right here, there is a spot right there where the plastic is actually longer and then it steps in right here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure the bracket is right in that spot, and then you should be able to pull that back. On the back side, which like I said is really hard to show, you're going to see that third tab, which is kind of by itself. You can kind of see it on that other side right there. If I kind of zoom you in, see that tab right there is by itself, and then you have the two prongs on the other side. What you want to do is you're going to want to remove the two prongs on this side right here. So pull these out, and then you can push that other one in on the other side, and you'll actually see the whole bracket will come forward, and then repeat the same process on the driver's side. And there you go. Take your bracket right off. All right, guys, so as you can see now, look how much air now can be flown into that intercooler to help you cool down and give you some extra horsepower. Something else that you kind of get to see here is these are the automatic shutters that open and close, restrict airflow for better aerodynamics and for better heating up in the wintertime. These motors actually heat up. This is the 2.7. These motors actually heat up really, really quick. All right, guys, so what you're going to need now to start the actual process in doing this is, depending on your license plate type, you are going to need, in my case, a flathead screwdriver, you can see right there, or a Phillips, depending on what your plate application is. You are also going to need a cutoff wheel on a grinder. It doesn't really matter what thickness on the other end. There are other ways. You could use a hacksaw if you want to. I'm obviously going to use a power tool versus doing it by hand. But we have the grinder cutoff wheel. The only other thing you're going to need is a drill, and that's only because I am going to be using self-tapping screws.
Screws that hold the plate on.
So once that license plate is removed, you are going to notice that there are two holes. The top hole is a screw that holds the license plate to the bracket, and then over here there is a slightly smaller hole, and I mean slightly smaller hole that's offset just a little bit. That's the hole we're going to use, and what I'm going to use is I'm going to use these self tappers. I already have them laying around the house, so I'm not going to go out and buy anything specific, but they are just, it's a self tapper Phillips head screw. I'm not overly worried about the length. Most of this is going to be taken up by the bracket itself. So really you're only going to have maybe about a finger width actually going behind that bracket. Now, if you have the front sensors for parking, this mod will not work for you. There is, unfortunately, sensors that run in the front of that bracket, or that bracket becomes part of the sensors that are in there. So unfortunately, this modification will not work if you have the front sensors. I just kind of wanted to point that out. Before we get started, as always, make sure that you have yourself some eye protection and some hearing protection. I recommend something more on the lines of this. These are much better for your ears. And I can tell you, as I get older, hearing is very important. And once you start losing it, I mean, that's it. So safety glasses and some sort of hearing protection. All right, guys. So what we're going to be doing here is essentially you just want to be cutting off these 4 tabs and then this piece right here as well. You can leave this, but the 8 tabs need to come off and this big tab needs to come off. All right, so first of all, don't do what I did and try not to hit the actual outside of the bracket. The good thing is this is going to be the inside, closest to the center of the car, so I'm not overly worried about it. But we're going to go ahead, get the rest of these off, and then we'll be able to start the installation. Now, obviously, this is nothing that you need to do. I'm just going to hit this real quick with a file and just kind of get all the little burrs and stuff off of the plastic. All right, guys, so what we're looking at doing here is we are basically looking at mounting this something like this. My goal is to just attempt to be as perfectly mounted as you can. I guess technically you could come up to here. Basically, the goal is to just look and to try and be, like I said, as secure and as straight as you can. If you want to, is you can try to use some masking tape and try to like put some tape somewhere, and I just move that. Put some tape somewhere up on the truck if you really wanted to, and make sure that that doesn't move on you like that just did for me. I am just going to go ahead and screw it on, and we'll go from there. So once you have the first side on, you can go ahead and kind of play around with it a little bit and just take a step back, get it to where you think it looks good. And then you can go ahead and sink that second screw. Just like that. Go ahead and grab your plate, your 2 screws. And there you go, guys. Now your plate is on the driver's side, out of the way, and opening up all that air for that intercooler to go ahead and suck in all of that air. One last thing we're going to take care of before we do anything else. Grab yourself some detail spray. Again, I'm not sponsored, but I use Meguiar's Quick Detailer. Go ahead and give yourself a couple little squirts here. And then we'll just try to clean this up as best we can. She is due for a wash, so I'm not going to get too crazy with it. The nice thing is that there hasn't been any marring due to where the plate was sitting before. So that's definitely a good thing. There is some scuffing here on the plastic inside and out. I'm going to be looking at doing some detail, some black detailer. So if you guys have any suggestions as to what is the best back to black or whatever you want to call it, to get the plastics not only clean and get all this dirt and grit out of here, but also to make the plastic as black as I can. If you guys know anything, go ahead and leave me a comment. I'd love to read it. I'd love to figure it out. I'd love to get everything on this truck as pitch black as I can that is black. For those wondering, I am not, nor will I be doing any sort of chrome delete or, blacking out of the emblems or the badging or the bumpers or anything like that. It took me about a month and a half to find this truck. I looked forever for this spec in this truck, this color, which is the magnetic gray and the chrome. That is what I wanted. If anything, in the next video on the truck is going to be some sort of a chrome. I hope you enjoyed this quick little mod to get your license plate up and out of the way, free up some air for your intercooler. If you guys enjoyed this one, go ahead and drop me one of these, leave me a comment. Don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. More videos to come, usually doing about a video a week. That's pretty much where we've been living. And I will catch you next time.